Hi crew, welcome back. It is so good to see you guys. For those of you who are new, I'm Evelyn, and this is my bullet journal setup for May 2025. I do apologize everybody if you can hear my space heater in the background. It is cold. Here on April 19th of 2025, we've had thunder snow across northern parts of Arizona, and it was our low last night was 36. So I gotta be honest, you guys, I almost didn't do this video this month. I've been in a bit of a creative slump. I haven't felt myself. I haven't felt very good. I've been sick. I know you guys can probably hear it in my voice. Don't worry, I have a quart of water. And, yeah. I had to remind myself the reason why I do YouTube is because I enjoy making videos. Could they be better quality? All things in time. Slow upgrades. Because as I said before, there will probably never be a sponsored video on this channel, just because sponsored videos and the contracts for those are squishy and very iffy. And I do not like a lot of the ambiguity of what they ask you to do with your content in order to help promote their product. And unfortunately, from what it seems like, there's a lot of these companies that just take advantage of content creators and their desire to have an audience that engages with them. I think I've made it quite clear. If it takes me 10 years to end up with 1,000 subscribers, that's fine. But if you're here on my channel, it's because I want you here because you enjoy being here, because you enjoy taking a break and hanging out. That was Izzy Cat, by the way, yelling in the background at me. She is very upset that it is cold and wet today. Yeah. I know, I went back to a 2-page calendar spread. It just didn't feel right. If you go back and you look at April's setup and you look at how I did my calendar dashboard for April, I didn't like it. I don't like it. It doesn't feel good at all. So I went back to a 2-page calendar spread. Now, just so you guys know, it took 2.5 hours to set up my May bullet journal. The fact that I've gotten it down to almost 47 minutes is purely because of sped up footage. I'm still quite sick. Well, I shouldn't say quite sick. It has settled in my throat. But on this particular day, I was just taking it easy. I had something going in the background. My husband was taking care of something and chatting at me pretty frequently too. So I was just taking it easy. I was chilling. I was vibing. And while it took forever, it was one of the more relaxing setups that I think I've ever done. So there's something to be said for reminding oneself that it's called sped up footage. And, you know, I've got the speeding up footage on this editing program that I use is actually quite easy, and it's really easy to get it in between different speeds, like 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. If I wanted 3.5 times, easy peasy. Now, I was not expecting this really soft pink on these number stickers to complement my browns, my red browns and browns that I was using for this spread, as well as what they did. I'm very happy with how my May calendar page here turned out. It's, like I said, it's warm, it's cozy. I am very happy with it. Very happy with it. Now, I don't fill in my calendars, for those of you who are new. I don't bring you guys along for when I'm filling in paydays and when bills are due and whatnot and things like that, just because that's one of those things that is not content. If that's one thing that I, as a young content creator, technically speaking, I think I'm going into year 3 of creating content for YouTube. Not everything's content. Nor does it have to be. When I originally started the channel, I wanted to be a homesteading vlog channel. And the universe laughed and laughed and laughed, and now I'm a bullet journaling channel with a side of homesteading and the occasional peak of my paganism. Stuff changes. This is relevant because this page is my hobbies and focus page. My hobbies and focus page is where I keep track of my videos. It's where I keep track of my knitting and my crocheting. And if I have a sewing project, that's where that goes. It goes there. And then over here on the right-hand side is my husband's page. My husband is always asking me to remember things for him. And if you're married, one of you in the relationship is constantly writing everything down. The other person is constantly forgetting. It doesn't really seem to matter what the gender dynamic is for said marriage. Somebody's always forgetting. Somebody's writing it down, either on the phone or in a notebook. So this is where I keep track of stuff for him. Of things like, hey, you've got an appointment for the motorcycle to get the chain fixed on such and such a date, or hey, you need to call and talk to so-and-so on this date, or hey, don't forget to do this, don't forget to do that. And I do apologize again for the focus issues, the womp womp womp. See, if I were filming from the front, it doesn't do that. And I had a lovely person comment a couple years back of, well, have you turned off autofocus? The settings for the camera app on my phone don't have autofocus. So I couldn't turn it off. I looked so hard. I was like, that might be it. It's not. It's not. One of these days, I will have a camera that I can set up and not have to worry about the focus issues. Someday. Unfortunately, there are other things that are a higher priority, like patching the roof on the house, and we still haven't gotten one of the AC heat pumps fixed yet. Because stuff keeps happening. So, we're working on it though. I promise we're working on it though. This brown paper you see me gluing down is just packaging padding from the variety of boxes that we get from time to time. The left-hand side has all of my self-care tasks, self-care things that I track. And for those of you who are new and are curious, well, why do you track your self-care? Because I'm very bad at it. I'm horrible at it sometimes. Staying on top of, did I take my vitamins today? Have I brushed my teeth today? When was the last time I showered? Did I journal today? Did I work out? When was the last time I worked out? Yeah. So that is why you will see a wake-up time, taking vitamins and all of those that most people just kind of assume are, for a lot of people who use a bullet journal, they wouldn't probably keep track of these. They don't need to. I do. That's why my trackers, that's why I have so many habit trackers, and that's why mine are so different. Now, you will also note, I went back to the mini calendars. Only one of the calendars has numbers. I have found that I only need the numbers in one of the calendars. And as long as that calendar's right there, first and foremost, I don't have an issue. with any of the other trackers. Dear other bullet journal content creators out there, do you actually really need the numbers in the calendar? Say for one, eh? Now you guys are probably also asking, hey, who have seen the videos before, why isn't your writing tracker a part of your hobby tracker? We'll get into that in a little while. Right here underneath of the self-care trackers, I shrunk the size of the list a little bit, but we've got my monthly tidy list and then we've got the weekly chore list. And I just went ahead and put them in the same box. And for those of you wondering about the pens, these are just Sakura Jelly Rolls and Crayola Super Tips. Here, I'm a very big fan of what is cost effective, and it just takes a little bit of effort to be able to get the same result with a Crayola Super Tip that one might get with a Tombow. For a third, maybe even a quarter of the cost. Don't get me wrong, the Tombows have some fantastic rich colors, and if you're constantly using them, you're definitely getting your money's worth out of them. However, having something like a Tombow for someone like myself, who has to be very aware of where every single one of my pennies is going, Tombows are a luxury pen. I know that probably sounds hilarious, but they are. It's also part of the reason why you won't see me paint in my journals, because it would be the only place that I would be painting. So I just don't do it. I'm not that good of an artist anyways. That's why I rely on paper, pretty papers, washi tapes, and stickers. I'm not a very good artist. When I left college, because I'd been taking art classes as part of the degree I was going after, my drawing ability was fairly good, but I didn't keep up with my practice, so that skill severely, greatly deteriorated. I was one of those people that should have been practicing every single day, and I didn't. Mostly because I had people around me that didn't want to respect my time. These days, if I tell my husband, hey, I'm going to take an hour to do a writing sprint, and that door shuts, he does not come in unless it is an emergency. I love that man so much. And unfortunately, the first part of my trip in March, I talk about that in the catch-up video, that did negatively impact him and me. So part of my creative slump has been feeling like I was repairing my relationship a little bit, because there are a few things worse than when someone who is struggling with their relationship manages to get inside your head and plant doubts. But that's neither here nor there. Here is my sleep tracker. I have found that I like the way that I've got my sleep tracker set up now, where the left-hand side of the sleep tracker is the earliest I might go to bed. Hi, Ezzy, she's behind me. Please don't step on the keyboard. No, you may not get in my lap. No, I love you, but you may not get in the lap right now. I need to focus on this video. There you go. Go to the art cart. Is it empty? It is. Good girl. You guys probably can't see her with me being down here and tiny down here, but yeah, here she is. Yes, she is a very big cat. Something about white and marmalade cats, they always just get huge. Anyways, back to the sleep tracker. The left-hand side is the earliest that I go to bed, and the right-hand side is the latest that I might sleep in. So instead of just saying, hey, I got 2 hours of sleep, when did I get that 2 hours of sleep? Was it good sleep? Was it 9 hours of sleep that was good sleep? And so I really like that format of that sleep tracker. And for those of you who are new, you'll know I don't have a mood tracker. Mood trackers do not provide me with any kind of information that is relevant to my life and to what I need out of my life. So, but between my self-care habits and my sleep tracker, that usually helps me figure out what kind of a mood I had that day. So, and you guys will note that I'm using a lot of little boxes off of a lot of older sticker packs that I wasn't really using for other things. So I was like, I know I can morph this into something useful in a bullet journal spread. And a part of that was also taking advantage of these little dot stickers. These little dot stickers, I am like figuring out different ways that I can use them in my bullet journal to create spreads has just been all sorts of fun. So this one over here on the right is my ovarian rebellion tracker. This is where I keep track of expected and actual date it starts, when I need to increase my water and my protein, when I need to take a super long hot shower where I scrub an inch of skin off. There's something seriously therapeutic about standing in a very hot shower and just scrubbing. Oof. And then I keep track of my symptoms and the different things I crave, like fresh fruit. This past period, I could not eat enough citrus fruit. It was just, give me the grapefruit and the orange and back away slowly. And keeping track of all of this stuff is just a part of me stepping up, taking care of my health, and taking care of myself. And I didn't see what that was. Oh, yeah, that's the weather tracker. Weather tracker. Pretty cut and dry. Low in the morning, the day high, and what the weather was doing. Whether or not it was cloudy, whether or not it was sprinkling. Like today I get to write partly cloudy, sprinkled. Yay. We had so little moisture this winter that we didn't get a desert wildflower bloom. The lilac tree is usually bloomed out and done by now, and my pear tree is usually bloomed out and done by now. They were both late, and I didn't notice until 3 weeks after starting that my hose to the pear tree was broken. So for 3 weeks I've been trying to water that pear tree and the water wasn't reaching my poor tree. So we got a new hose on that and she's finally blooming. And I'm happy because I was so worried that the blooms got frosted. No, it's okay. And over here on this right hand side, we have got my weekly reset checklist. I have been craving my weekly resets. When I got back from my trip in March, because of getting sick, which I know you guys can probably hear in my voice. 1 second, drink break. It's just water with some 0 calorie added to it to flavor it, because when you live in the desert, water gets boring very quickly. And for those of you wondering, yes, that is purple flavor. For those of you who have no idea what that means, artificially grape flavored stuff does not taste like grape. It tastes like purple. So when people say you can't taste a color, they've never had a grape drink. They've never had a grape drink. But when I got back, I had barely enough energy to take a shower on my weekly reset days, let alone take care of my nails. And it was just like, this sucks. But, yeah. So I'm also going to be adding to my weekly reset a face mask. When I first moved into the homestead, I actually tried them out for the first time ever and found that I really liked how rejuvenating and fresh it made my face feel. So I'm going to be adding a weekly face mask into my weekly reset just because it's what I want to do and I like it. which is kind of surprising, but I like them. So this page right here is the reading retreat page. Now I'm still working and trying to finish King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. I just totally botched that title. But that's because when I'm sick and I try to read, I fall asleep. So I've not gotten a lot of reading in April done. Now you guys will note that I've got several boxes here from those sticker packs I was telling you about. I'm just using a flag, a decorative flag, to cover up what's on that box. And from there, that's where I'm going to be putting those particular pieces of information. The snack list is very important, because the snack list usually requires going into town and getting something we don't normally have for a snack. We try to keep the snacks to a minimum because my husband thinks he's overweight. He calls himself fat. He's not. My husband is not fat. Does he weigh more than what he probably could? He's only like maybe 20 pounds. That's it. So it always just kind of, whenever he says that about himself, I'm like, you are not fat. Oh my God. But I am working on trying to make sure that we have scheduled cheat days and the rest of the time portion control and various other things, exercise and whatnot. This particular page right here is the homestead, bill, and garden page. That all got combined into one page because, well, bills are a homestead thing, so but all three of those didn't need their own page. I went from working in an A5 to a B5 to an A5 and thought that they needed a full page in an A5. Wrong. Very wrong. Now these tabs that you see me doing here on the pages, that took me 2 hours to do, which is why you guys didn't get taken along for it, because it was slow and tedious. And I was just like, no, I'm not going to put you guys through that. This particular 2-page spread is the 1 line a day, or I'm going to be actually changing the name of it in June. It's going to be a summarize the day. This is where at the end of the day I'm writing down what happened, a summary of anything maybe of note. And that spread from there is what goes into the house diary when I update the house diary at the end or beginning of every month. Right about here is where I had to stop and go put a pizza in the oven because this was in the evening. So you're going to see a thing happen. Here we go. Now, I decided that it would probably make more sense if my leftover tracker, which I use to make sure we're not wasting anything or that stuff is getting frozen in time, so that in the future, when I don't know what to make for dinner, I can grab one of those things and add a can of chicken or add some more broccoli or whatnot, or pair it with rice, and et cetera, should probably be in the same group of pages as my diet tracker. I say this probably every time. I turned 40 this year, so keeping track of my diet as I am moving into being premenopausal has become a bit of a priority. And for those of you who do not understand menopause, menopause can happen to a woman in her 20s. The reason why that happens is not still fully understood. So it's not fun. It's not fun. The emotions are definitely more raw. very much more present, and I've never had a healthy relationship with my emotions. So that has been part of what's been chewing up my creative juju, because I've been having to divert that mental energy into other things about my body as it's changing, so that it's a smooth transition and I don't end up going and causing international incidences because somebody made me angry. And make no mistake, I would be more than willing to do that if far too many of my friends and family got hurt. But that's just me. I've always had a temper, although these days it's not as bad, which is nice, because being angry all the time is exhausting. I don't know how people do it. But I keep track of the different liquids, the different proteins, fruits, veggies, and grains, along with chocolate, alcohol, and I have a miscellaneous category for when I eat something that I'm not entirely certain as to where to put. And you will note here that I was trying to you'll see here, I was trying to figure out how I could put the diet tracker heading in, and then I was like, I actually don't need this. I'm just gonna put some washi tape and a little bit of decoration. And you will see that I am using a very, very light brown. It's a very tan, very beige tape. I didn't realize how light it would be on camera. And these are just flags that have things, like you saw, busy. I just layered them so that I would have the decorative element and then a fully decorative flag there, just as a nice little cascade, I guess, of stuff, decoration stuff, lots of stuff. And I glued that washi tape down, I think, at that point. Yeah, I did. Like, come here. Stay where I stick you, damn it. And it ended up being crooked when I did that. I didn't care. I just wanted to stay down. Stay down. Now, on these two pages, we have got a newer tracker that came into existence February-ish. Because I started tracking my writing in my bullet journal with my other trackers, and then I realized that despite the fact that I consider writing to be a hobby, I really should have its own spread, because it's something I'm trying to be more accountable with myself on. Like, even if I only get 250 words in on a day, I should still track that, and I should still be proud of myself for managing 250 words when some days all I can really go do is go through and, you know, change a word here that on second read doesn't look right. I, a lot of times, edit more often than I write. And all of my writer friends who have gotten this far are going, "You're not supposed to do that!" What? I go back through and I reread what I've previously written frequently to see if I need to change the flow, if I need to change if I want to take a section out and use it later, and if it's been a few days since I've worked on it, it reminds me where I was going. So, but with my writing tracker spread here, I keep track. I just have too many calendars, and I have a key for what I get done on that day. And then I've got word goals for both stories, not just one. It's in total word goals for both writing projects. And then I've got goal rewards. And for my key, I'm just keeping track of things like edited / brainstorm, 250, 500, 750, and 1K words. And then I've got a symbol for nope. Hold on a second. I had to start doing a salt gargle in the evenings because of the phlegm buildup that I was getting. It was just like, it was getting detrimental. And the salt gargle is doing a lot of good. So for those of you wondering how you would make one, you dissolve enough salt, you dissolve salt into warm water until you can taste it, but not like super strong, not like, ooh, salty, or just barely. You want it to go, yeah, that's salty. That's it. If you do stronger than that, you're not going to want to gargle with it. So the boxes that ended up being on this writing spread page are a little on the cattywampus side, I will admit. They're cattywampus. That's just how they ended up. Right here, I decorate that blank space because it was bugging me. And I'm just doing the flag layering again. Layering flags is something I've been playing with in my long form journal a little bit, which is how I ended up coming up with the idea of layering the flags in my bullet journal for decoration. Now, I keep my word goals as realistic as I can, which is why you will see 250 word increments on my word goals. Now, these word goals are also written in respect to how chaotic and upended my life can get at times, which is why they're in 0.25 increments. The 7K words and 8K words are stretch goals, and whatever it is that I give myself as a reward for the 8K words is definitely going to be one I've earned. Now on the right hand side here, we're working on my task page. I'm trying out having my task list be its own separate list for the entire month instead of having a weekly task dump at the beginning of the week. I don't know how well it's going to work out. And later on, I go back in with several dot stickers to pre-designate space for said tasks. Now that little transition right there was because the pizza was done and it was time for me to go eat dinner with my husband. In case you guys are wondering about the tabs still, those are just half circle stickers that you find in sticker packs like Happy Planner and the Paper Studio or Agenda 52. And I'm planning on playing with tabs in the future with the regular square flags, but I don't know how enthusiastic I am about that idea because that would take a really long time. Like I said, it took 2 hours to do these half circles, which, as you can guess, made me not so enthused about using them again. And here we're just starting in on the weeklies. The month of May starts on a Thursday, so the first 3 days of the month are, in their own thing. I tried carrying over weeks so that they're 7-day increments and nice and neat and orderly, and my chaotic little muse went, ew, no. So that is why you guys don't see, unless it's a week inside of the month, that's why you're not seeing the last week of April in this part, because no. Yes, May 1st is Beltane. I'm probably not doing anything this year again. I just don't do a lot of things on for Imbolc, Austera, Beltane, Midsummer, Maybone, Samhain, and Yule. Although, no, I take it back. Yule I do a lot for, because it's Yule. Yule is wintertime is probably my favorite. Christmas and Yule are two of my favorite holidays, and just I absolutely love cooking at that time of year, because there's just something about being able to sit down with my husband and friends, if they've managed to come over, and just enjoy and reflect on the year over a plate of hot food. So I don't know how well you could see what I'm doing with my number stickers here on my weeklies, but I'm using a dot sticker and then offsetting the number off of the dot sticker a little bit to create an edge or a shadow. Sorry, stretch attack. And I really ended up liking how it looked. Plus it let me use up some dot stickers that I had forgotten that I had and that I needed to use. Is it just me, or does it seem like, for those of us in the bullet journal community, this embracing of letting stickers do a lot of the hard work and sparing one's wrist have really been embraced. I'm very, very appreciative of that. Because, like, I'm sorry, I really don't want to have to go through and handwrite all of the days of the week. Will I if I need to? Yeah. But having a sticker that I can just pull off the sheet and put down and save my hand a little bit of time and energy and work is so worth it to me. It's so worth it. I'm gonna take another drink break. Now, May ends on a Saturday. So, for those of you who like to end your weeks on Sundays, na 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 na. Sorry, couldn't resist. I love it when a month ends on Saturday, because it means my next month's setup is simpler. At least the start of the weeklies is simpler. Now, I did take a pencil to this TieFossi after getting done setting up May, and it looks like, unless I decide to be conservative with my pages in one of the months, that I will be able to fit June and July in this TieFossi, which would put it roughly, I think it's behind me here real quick, which would put me at, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 190-page journal, and I'm still managing 5 months. A part of that is because, like I've told you guys in the past, I'm not precious with my pages. I use what I need to use. So I have a tendency of going through, depending on the size of the notebook, anywhere from 3 to 4 bullet journals. 4 to 5 is my long forms. And that right-hand page there is the page for June information. Right here you see me sticking in boxes on my days. Now these are stickers that I would not normally use, but I realized I had several of them that were nice, warm, subdued colors, and I needed to either go ahead and use them or throw them away. So I decided in the month of May, that's where I'm going to write down the word count for my writing projects at the beginning of the day, and then I would, at the end of the day, write down the new word count. Or, if I didn't write that day, that box is going to hold my number one task that I need to get done for that day. Be it clean up weeds around the garden, clean the chicken coop, reorganize one of the sheds, reorganize my closet back here. I was using the daily that box to emphasize the daily. And as you can see here, I've got quite a few boxes, things that I could use to point out that, hey, this is something that needs to be a priority. Like these planet stickers from the classic Stargazer. Those are from a Happy Planner pack. Those are not an Agenda 52 pack. Yeah. Anytime you see me pause like that, chances are it's because I'm fending off a cat. Or my husband. My husband, when he gets into a playful mood, I do my best to not discourage it, regardless of what it is that I'm doing, because he doesn't get into playful moods very often. So when he does end up in a playful mood, it's just kind of like, uh-oh, what are you going to make it necessary for me to edit out this time? And you'll note that on my weeklies, I've got the Wednesday sticker on one side, but Wednesday tasks will continue over onto the second page on the other side, because I don't like combining my Saturday into Sunday into a weekend tasks, because I never know how my Saturdays and Sundays are going to go. My husband works full time, so a lot of times Saturdays or Sundays we are going into town to try to take care of stuff. All right, now let's get into a flip through real quick, and you will see me decorate a couple of spots, just because it was like, I don't like this empty space here. This is too much empty space. Let me decorate it. But we've got the return of the 2-page calendar spread. I like calendar spreads. I like this way better. So I'm probably going to be sticking to 2-page calendar spreads from here on out. We'll see. We've got my hobbies and focus page. We've got my page for my husband. And I'm just reaching over and grabbing a little coffee pot sticker, to stick in the to-do section right there, just because I didn't like that it was blank. We have got my self-care and my homestead trackers, along with the house trackers like dishes, trash, and cleaning the litter box. We've got my sleep tracker, my ovarian rebellion checklist, or dashboard. Dashboard might be the better word. Weather, weekly reset. And I go back and add more decoration later with stickers that have that brown, warm tone to them. But I do that off camera. We've got the read and retreat day. We've got the homestead, bills, and garden page. We have got one line a day, or summarize the day. Leftovers, diet tracker. We've got another pause here where I think I'm fending off a cat again. When the cats decide to be menaces, oh boy, do they decide to be menaces. Yeah, I'm fending off a cat again. We've got my writing tracker. And right about here, I think I reach and grab the glue stick because that washi strip does not want to stay down. Apologies if you can hear me snorkeling in the background with my nose. So I actually ended up using a glue stick and had to get a new one. And I know a lot of you are like, probably like, well, why aren't you using glue tapes? Glue tapes are great for when you're traveling a lot, but it's more economical and cost effective to get glue sticks than glue tapes. So, and then we've got my May task list for the entire month. That's where everything's going to get written down. And then here we go into the weeks. And don't get me wrong, the tabs are fun, but I'm probably never going to do a half circle tab with these stickers like this again, because it was a little bit of a pain in the butt. And that is all for today, you guys. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. Hug your loved ones tight. Remember that we live in spite of life. Take care of yourself. And I will catch you guys in the next video, which might be a vlog. I don't know yet. Bye!